Hello everybody, and welcome to today's video from the Family Business Book. I've heard from a couple of people that they're a bit confused about the last video, and some of you are asking, why do I keep emphasizing values when I'm talking about family business? So in this video I'll attempt to clarify both of these concerns and to attempt to convince you that your values and how you represent them are really going to affect your profit line. So if you think that profitability is the only thing we should be concerned about when it comes to business, then I have to tell you that values and getting these right and getting your business identity right actually should be one of your major concerns. So with that said, we'll roll the credits and get into this video. Okay, so let's start again. What are values? Values are not to do with the value of money, but to do with the philosophical values, or if you like, the beliefs that your business projects out onto the world. It's not just what it projects out onto the world, it's also the values through which it operates. So well, let's say you're a mafia family, then your values are going to be something like, there's your family, which is a major extended family or community of related people that are part of your organization, and then there's the rest of the world. And the object of the exercise will be to get the money that belongs to the rest of the world and siphon it off so that your organization will be profitable. And when you think about it, it sounds like any regular kind of business in a way, because we all want our businesses to be profitable. Now, the second part is that anything is legitimate, and the ways in which you will operate this are through an underground network of criminals who will be able to operate due to your license. And some of you may say, well, actually, it sounds as if you're talking about the government and financial regulators. And in a sense, you are. The reason the mafia is quite simply because they're not the government. They just govern a small proportion of the world. And the government is the government because it has all kinds of weapons at its disposal in order to coerce people to follow its diktats. And then there's a clash of powers between governments, of course, in which larger governments tend to lean very heavily upon smaller governments. Anyway, this is getting a bit out of hand, isn't it? Let's try and think about your business a bit and why your family values need to be dovetailed with it if you're running a family-owned business. Well, quite clearly, if your business is one in which you kind of seek to exploit everybody, every potential customer out there, and if your family value is one in which you seek to be benevolent and to provide for everyone that's out there, and you believe that everybody is equal, there's a kind of a clash between those two values. So there's going to be friction between what family members believe and how the business operates. And that means that the family members themselves are not going to be happy, and the people running the business are not going to be happy. And if you want an illustration of that, right at the moment there's something going on called Brexit, in which I can tell you that civil servants are not happy with the divisions that are occurring in government, because civil servants by and large need to have very clear directives and directions as to where to go, and then they set up channels in order to make it happen. Whereas the government is supposed to represent the will of the people, at least in a democracy, and really the government hasn't been doing that. It's a complete kind of fudge, at least in the UK. So in a way this is analogous to what happens when the values of the family are at odds with the values of the business. So how do we get over this? What do we have to do? Well, what we have to do is to be very, very clear about what we believe in and how we want the world to be. And then we set out to enable our business to create it for us. So if you want to get your family values and your business values together, then obviously you need to talk about what these are, both with your family and with any associates you have within your business. And it's no good just simply talking about them. You have to really to be explicit and to write them down, because until you've done that, you've got no way of creating policies and procedures that will support those values. So very basically, if you have a concrete set of values, then these will determine what capabilities your organization will have. And the capabilities will determine the specific behaviors that people will have. And the specific behaviors will determine the impact you have on the environment and the feedback that you receive from the environment. And all these are very, very important. If you get this wrong and you end up creating a mafia-like organization, then of course you can expect to be attacked both by the government and you can expect to be attacked by other mafia-like organizations who will be raiding you, putting you under pressure, and possibly rubbing out some of your employees, if not the bosses themselves. So, and all that's to be expected, basically. You just take that as the risks of the trade. On the other hand, if you come up and produce a much more philanthropic kind of organizations, yes, you are going to get pressured by various unscrupulous people and organizations, but actually you're going to be in a much better position to get over those kind of difficulties with the help of your own government and law enforcement agencies. So it's a good idea really to be one of the good guys rather than one of the bad guys. So where does identity fit into this? Identity will determine your mission and position within society. So if you have a strong identity, then people will know who you are and they will be more inclined to buy your brand, or at least your followers are going to be more inclined to buy your brand, and people who are not your followers will not buy your brand. And politics is actually a very, very good example of this, because there are some people that will always vote Conservative or Republican if you're an American, and there are some people that will always vote Labour or Democrat if you are an American. And then there are some people who are kind of don't-knows in the middle, who will belong to or switch between minor political parties or one or two of the major parties when those parties appear to be more closely identified with their particular belief system. And one of the problems that is prevalent in the UK at the moment is none of the major political parties, neither the Conservatives nor the Democrats, the Labour Party, really project strong traditional images of what they're about. There are vestiges of this. On the Conservative side, there are people such as Jacob Rees-Mogg, who represents a traditional Conservative that we can all identify with. And on the Labour side, we have people like Jeremy Corbyn, who represents a traditional socialist that we can readily identify. But somewhere in the middle, there is this kind of liberal fudge. That's much more difficult because we're unable to disentangle exactly what these people are all about. And when Conservatives look like socialists and socialists look like Conservatives, we get a sort of Blairite government, if you will, or a Cameron-like government, and the public have rejected that. And they rejected it both in elections and they've rejected it in terms of voting for Brexit. Now, I'm sorry if this seems to be a very kind of political video. I don't mean it to be. It's simply a sign of the times, if you like, that I'm using political analogies because I think you'll understand them. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to run a business, first of all, make sure your values are aligned with those of your family. And secondly, make sure that you have a strong identity and a strong mission for your company so that people can identify with you. That's all I have to say today from the Family Business Book, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon.
If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to share your thoughts with other family business owners in the comments section below. You can also respond to thoughts posted by other viewers. Remember to like and share the video and subscribe to this channel. To be sure to receive notifications, you must also click the bell icon at the top right-hand corner of the YouTube page.